Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about 2022's Matt Reeves' The Batman. And if you're wondering why I'm talking like this, it's because that's how everybody talks in this movie. Oh, man! Imagine 3 hours of that. Before I get into the movie, got some stuff on display here, and the only point of this is to show you I'm a Batman fan. Because I know that I've said in other videos that I am a Marvel fanboy, and that is accurate, but that doesn't mean that I dislike DC or Batman. I've got lots of movies, TV shows, video games. Suspiciously absent are comics, which, fair. I don't have a lot of DC comics. One of the few that I do is The Dark Knight Rises. Nope, The Dark Knight Returns. But I couldn't find it, so I'm going to assume that my brother has it. So, I like Batman. I'm a fan of Batman, so just keep that in mind as I give my thoughts on this movie, because I don't want anybody accusing me of hating it simply because it's not a Marvel movie. I don't only like Marvel movies. So I'm going to do non-spoilers, then spoilers, things I like, things I didn't like. I like that this movie does not hold your hand. It expects you to know who Selena Kyle is. It expects you to know who the big mobsters in Gotham are. It expects you to understand who Batman and Alfred are. It expects you to know who Jim Gordon is. It doesn't hold your hand through the introduction of those characters. And there are a lot of characters in this. And even though it's like 3 hours long, if they had needed to set everyone up like you normally would, it would have been way too much. But at this point, it's expected that we know this stuff. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank goodness they did not show the Wayne murders again. Oh my gosh, how many times have we seen that? 107? It's obviously referenced and mentioned, and the Waynes play a part in this movie, but we do not see that alleyway murder that we've seen oh so many times. So I appreciate that. Catwoman is probably the best part of this movie, in my opinion, which is probably what I said about The Dark Knight Rises. Not great for a Batman movie. The best part is Catwoman. What else did I like about this? The car seems cool, but you can't ever really actually see it, so who knows how it looks in the light. Batman does more detecting in this movie than I think probably in any other movie. At least any of the live action or the major animated movies. So that's cool, because that's always something that I feel like the Arkham games do really well, but the movies don't, is the detective side. And I think this one has a lot of that in there. I would also say he's probably the best disguised Batman. Like, he doesn't, to me, and I understand that this is going to be different for different people, but to me, he doesn't look like Robert Pattinson in the suit, right? And when you see him as Bruce Wayne, they do not look similar, right? And obviously that's a suspension of disbelief things in other movies, but Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, you can tell that it's them in the suit. But for me, at least, and maybe it's just because I'm not that familiar with Robert Pattinson, but to me, they seem like they're not obviously the same person. Am I out? Am I out of things I liked? Those are things I liked. Things that I didn't like, without getting into spoilers, is that this movie takes itself so seriously. It's a superhero. It's a comic book property. Why do we have to take these things? If you thought Zack Snyder took his stuff too seriously, I don't think there's a single joke in this movie. And I'm going to stop you there. I know a lot of people don't like how many jokes Marvel does. And I know people think that they do them at the wrong times. And that's fine. I'm not saying it should be like a Marvel movie. I'm not saying it should have as many jokes as a Marvel movie, but even the Dark Knight trilogy had jokes. Even Zack Snyder's movies have jokes. Sometimes you need some lightheartedness to balance out the grim and grittiness. This movie is all grim and gritty. There is no lighthearted moments at all. nothing to lighten the mood, nothing to light the tension. It is relentlessly brooding the entire movie. And there are scenes like when he is can't think of the word, interrogating, we'll call it, when he's interrogating the Riddler, that they try so hard to make this super, super serious, and it comes off as just really weird and like almost funny, but not in a ha-ha funny, like, oh my gosh, you guys seriously think that was a good take? Like, cringe. It's cringe. And you can get away with more stuff like that if you've got some other lighthearted stuff to balance it out. But when you take yourself so seriously for 3 hours, if one thing doesn't really land right, it really sticks out. And that scene with the Riddler, to me at least, really stuck out as pretty cringe. As well as the Riddler's conversation with another inmate later on. So that's probably my biggest disappointment, is that it's not an enjoyable movie to watch. There are some really cool things that happen. There are some really cool scenes. There are parts that I would love to watch again on YouTube. But to sit down and watch this 3-hour movie again, there's no fun in it. There's no enjoyment in it. That's what I like about superheroes, is the fun, exciting action stuff that's silly and that doesn't take itself too seriously. And man, like, to have something come out that makes Zack Snyder's films look lighthearted by comparison, not an easy task, and not a task I think that anyone should have set out to make. So those are my non-spoilery thoughts. I don't even think I'm really going to go into many spoilers. Most of this movie revolves around Batman solving riddles, which I solved in the movie. They're not difficult riddles. You don't need to be the world's greatest detective. But it's Batman solving riddles to solve this big mystery, right? And I was mentioning earlier how it doesn't hold your hands with a lot of the characters, but it also does non-traditional things with some of those characters. And I don't want to say that they're 100% original, because I haven't read every comic and I haven't seen every show. But they're things that I've never experienced before. So there's kind of some twists in there, if you will. But it's the kind of twist where, like, A, it doesn't really matter. And B, the movie puts so much on those that it's probably only going to work the first time that you watch it. And so, you know, I'm like thinking about if I'm going to rewatch this. I was pretty engaged throughout most of the movie. But once I know the information now, probably not going to be for a second time through. And it's really long. I was in the theater. My showtime started at 5. I got there a little bit early at 5:45. Movie didn't actually start until 5:35 because of trailers. And then I was still in there at like 8:45. So I was in the theater for almost 4 hours. And yeah, a lot of that was me getting there early because I wanted to get my stuff ready, and trailers. But that's a long time to be in a theater. And there's no, like I said, there was no fun, there was no excitement, there was no yes moment. Like, and it's not, again, I'm not saying it's boring. It's just relentless. There's no breaks. I lost my train of thought. Very little Bruce Wayne. I don't think he does very well at Bruce Wayne, which maybe that was the point. I don't know. But this is very much a Batman movie first, Bruce Wayne movie like sixth. We got John Turturro as someone who's supposed to be this menacing villain that I just cannot take seriously because I've seen the Transformers movies. So that didn't really work for me. I thought Zoe Kravitz did really well as Selena Kyle, Catwoman. They don't ever call her Catwoman, but he references her as a cat burglar. There's some nice interaction between them. Um, I really like the scene where they literally part ways at the end of the movie. I thought that was nicely shot and nicely done. I say at the end of the movie, I kept checking my phone. This is where I was going with. I kept checking my phone. I checked it like 2 or 3 times because I knew the movie was long, and so first I checked in the beginning to see when the movie started, which was 5:35, and then I was gonna like as the movie's starting, and it's this grim, brooding, dark, blah blah blah. Which, by the way, probably also literally the darkest Batman movie there's ever been. It's very dark. Hardly any scenes take place during the day or sunlight or brightly lit rooms. It's very very dark, in a literal sense. But I kept waiting. And I was like, "Geez, this is really. Are we ever gonna get a joke?" And I was gonna like take out my phone and see how long it took to get to the first joke. But I don't think there was ever a joke. Certainly nothing that I took as a joke. But the only other time I took out my phone was, it felt like we were coming to the end of the movie, to the end of the story, and it felt, like the length of a movie that I had been in there. And then it was like something else came up, and it's like, oh, we're not done yet. And so I took out my phone to see how much time was left, and it was like, there's still another hour of this movie. Where like, it very much felt like the movie was coming to a close, and then nope, another hour still to go. So it's long. It's really long. So yeah, I didn't hate it. I don't want that to be the takeaway here. I just think it could have used some balance. And that's kind of like, that's the lesson that Batman learns at the end of the movie. Because, by the way, we've got voiceover narration, Rorschach War Journal style, where Batman is writing in his diary about how the Batman project is working. So I don't know if we've ever had Batman narration in a major Batman movie before. So that might be something new. I don't hate it. 10 Sins will talk about it, I'm sure. But at the end of the movie, he's like, basically he's learned the lesson that vengeance on its own isn't going to get the job done. He needs to bring the people hope. And it's just like, how are you going to have that be the lesson of your movie when your movie has no lightheartedness, no hope, no nothing throughout the whole 3 hours? So that was kind of weird to me. So those are my thoughts on the Batman. I do want to say here, if you don't care about anything else I have to say, you can peace out now. That's all I got to say about the movie. But I do want to say, I had plans to do one Batman movie for every day of February leading up to the Batman, or every day of March during the Batman hype. I couldn't get myself the motivation to do it. Which then I became glad about when I started seeing so many other people doing very similar things, because I don't want to do the same exact thing that everybody else does. So, Darren Merle has his 44 Batman movies ranked. The Weekly Planet podcast with Mr. Sunday Movies, they ranked all the theatrical versions. Captain Midnight ranked all the TV shows, which, holy cow, that's a lot of watching for that. So, other people have been ranking them. What I haven't seen anyone else talk about yet, so what I am going to talk about, hopefully soon, is this treasure. Holy Musical Batman. Not a real DVD. I had somebody get a DVD copy for me, and we made a fake cover. It's on YouTube. And I will be making a video about it. That didn't stay on the shelf. I will be making a video about it and talking about why I think this is the best Batman property that there is. But if you don't want to wait for that, just go on YouTube, check it out. Holy Musical Batman. Batman spelled with an @ symbol. BATMAN. If you like Batman lore and you like references to old Batman installments, but you also like a sense of humor, Holy Musical Batman is amazing. So those are my parting words. Those are my thoughts on the Batman. Let me know how wrong I am. Let me know how stupid I am, because, these DC movies, they're real and they're serious, and they're not like those stupid Marvel movies that are just made for kids. By the way, there was a kid in my theater. I wonder if he had a good time. I don't know. I feel like kids wouldn't enjoy this movie. But those are my thoughts Let me know yours in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.